Hey guys, Albe here again. So I went down to the International Motorcycle Show in Long Beach, and when I entered the BMW booth I saw this beauty on a stand. So first thing I did when I came back, I went down to my friends at BMW Motorcycles of Riverside and I asked them to review the bike. So here we are, let's do it. Let's go over the specs real quick. As the name says, G310R, this bike is 313 cc's with 32 horses and 21 foot-pound of torque. Those are not big numbers, but this bike doesn't need big numbers. This bike is 350 pounds with a full tank. So very, very light, very, very nimble. There are two categories of people that would buy this bike. First category is obviously the new rider. You're new, you don't really know what you're doing. What you need is a small and nimble bike. I don't mean it small size-wise, because this is the size of a regular motorcycle. I mean small as engine. Something that you're not gonna flip at the first time you get scared and flick your wrist. Now, there is a second category that might be looking at this bike, the commuters, or those that live in a big city and don't want to take the car to go across town. This is the perfect bike for that. First of all, it's compact, it's very nimble, it moves on a dime. The handlebars are narrow, you can split lane and go through traffic really, really easily. And the consumption on this bike is outrageously small. So you might ask, how much this German beauty is gonna cost me? Well, unbelievably, this is a $5,000 motorcycle. So $5,000, it's a very small price. That does not mean that this bike is cheap. The only cheap thing of these bikes are registration and insurance. Even if the bike is built in India, is being engineered in Germany by the BMW people, is being built in India under the supervision of the BMW people. A big company like BMW would not risk their reputation just to make a buck. There is nothing to be worried about. And you can tell by just looking at the detail on this bike. So what do you get for $5,000? Well, you get the BMW quality. Good finish, you get a steel tubular frame, you get ABS as standard, that if you're new to motorcycling, well, you probably want ABS. You get a single cylinder engine. Usually single cylinder engines they vibrate a lot. In this case, BMW actually has a counter shaft inside that reduces the vibration of the engine at all RPMs. So that is not going to be a problem. You get disc brakes front and back, and you get proper tire, 110 up front, 150 in the back. You get proper golden upside down forks and a rear monoshock that you can adjust the preload to. But let's move on, let's see what else we get. Up front you get a single disc brake with a 300mm diameter and a 4-piston fixed caliper from Vibri. Vibri is a subsidiary of Brembo. In the rear you get a single disc brake of 240mm with a 1-piston floating caliper. Surprisingly enough, you actually get something under the seat. So you open it up, and other than the usual space for the manual over here, you get enough room for a full toolkit. Not many bikes nowadays still give you a full toolkit. As you guys can see, plenty of space under the seat. Last but not least, you get a full digital display. The LCD is very clean and very clear. A lot of informations, and most of all, you get a fuel level on the side. So you're gonna have the RPM on the bottom, you're gonna have digital speedo, the miles, you're gonna have the clock, the gear shift indicator, a bunch of lights on the side, and a bunch of info. So by touching the button you can go trip 1, trip 2, engine temperature, range, consumption actual, and then you have average speed, the date, and the setup page. Now the setup only sets up the time and the date. Let's take a look what happens when we turn it on. You also get beautiful 5-spoke rims, and if it wasn't enough, you get, oh snap, handles for your passenger. But enough with the boring stuff. Let's go for a ride and let's see how it performs. The sitting position is pretty straight up. I'm comfortable, there is no pressure on the wrist. It's the classic naked bike sitting position. Actually, for what it is, I'm fairly comfortable. I'm 6'2", my knees are not too bent. They fit very good in inside the bike right here. I'm not leaning forward too much. It's really comfortable as it should. The dash over there is very clear. The numbers are very legible, and there is a gear indicator, which for people that just starting riding a bike, it's very, very important. The control in the usual BMW style are big enough to be found easily with gloves, without gloves, even if you shouldn't be riding without gloves. The bike is still on the braking period, so I can't really go over 6,000 RPM. But just so you know, the engine red lines at 10,500 RPM. Now the top speed on this bike is 90 miles an hour. So there is plenty to get in trouble with. As I said, bike is super nimble. It goes in the turn and it switches back. Lightning fast. This bike is so easy to ride fast. It's incredible. Suspensions are adequate. The front suspension is pretty good. If the bike was mine, I would probably crank up the preload on the rear spring and make it a little stiffer. But other than that, oh my god, it's super fast. It's lightning fast on the switchbacks. The riding position, you're straight up and you have a lot of visibility. The mirrors are pretty good. I can see exactly what's going on behind me. And here, coming down. Yeah. The brakes are good for what it is. You have a single disc up front and still it brakes good. It's solid. Now I am 6'2" and 220 pounds, which is 100 kilos. And still, if I want to stop the bike stops. It stops great. Amazingly enough, I suspect because of the long swinging arm in the back, the bike is very stable on turns, and at the same time remains nimble. The engine responds pretty good, and is no mumbo jumbo or menu you need to learn. You can actually just focus on riding. There is a ABS standard which will help you out when you panic and will keep you right up. But there is no traction control, there is no riding mode, and for a new rider it's fine. Just focus on the ride. The bike is very well balanced, and if you're a new rider, this is exactly the bike you want to buy. You want to drop it in the corner, it goes in easy, it comes out easy, it maintains the line. Well, color me impressed, because this bike can really do it. The question is, in everybody's mind right now is, would I buy this bike? I mean, I've been riding bikes now for more than 20 years. I was a motorcycle driver in the Italian army, so I'm not a novice. But
I would still buy this bike if I lived in Los Angeles or New York. I would buy this bike to commute to work because through traffic is fantastic, it's super economic, it burns no gas whatsoever, and it looks astonishing. I really love the way this bike looks. There is plenty to have fun, and being so nimble and so agile, you can put this bike wherever you want.
It's time for me to bring the G310R back to BMW. It was such a ball to have it. I had so much fun. The bike is so comfortable and so easy to drive. It was really, really fun. Super nimble and great looking. I mean, look at it. I'll tell you what, if BMW slaps a 1000cc engine on that bike, I'm buying one. Don't be fooled by all those people that tell you to buy a 1000cc as your first bike. The roads are filled by bits and pieces of 1000cc's first bikes. If you're new to the motorcycling, that's the bike you want to buy. Thank you very much to the guys at BMW Motorcycle or Riverside on Indiana. If you guys are in the market for one of those, or if you just want to test drive one, go pay them a visit. They will set you up. And if not, at least you rode this bike before dismissing it altogether. As always, if you guys have time, go check out my website www.albezadv.com. If you like the video, like. If you love the video, subscribe for more BMW reviews. Stay tuned. Ride on, and I'll see you next time.